Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So, yesterday Bethesda held a roundtable event with some of the people from Xbox to discuss their recent acquisition by Microsoft. And there's not a vast amount of new information in here. There's a couple of little bits and pieces that bear looking at, but rather than get bogged down, let's make this short and sweet and jump into the details that we did get out of this event. Yeah, the little roundtable event that Bethesda held last night was about an hour long, and in the main, it was more geared towards introducing Xbox players who are unfamiliar with Bethesda and what they do and their sort of internal style structure to the company. So, if you fall into that category, you're not vastly familiar with what's going on inside, the way they do things, and the personality of the business, I suppose, then it might be an interesting watch. Obviously, I'll link the video down below so you can check that out. In terms of the actual news stuff, it was a little bit sparse. Some of it's elaborating on stuff we knew already, and some of it is new, but it's a relatively short list, so let's get to it. Point number one that I'm sure you've heard about by the old social medias and the like is that further confirmation of the bad news for PlayStation players, that is that future Bethesda games and games from the other Bethesda studios are likely in the main to be Xbox PC exclusive, which is, shit news, to put it mildly. I don't think anybody's going to be particularly happy about that. I'm not particularly happy about it myself, even though I play on PC, so it does kind of suck. Obviously, games that are already under contract to come out on PlayStation will still be coming out on PlayStation. The couple of games that are already under contract to be exclusive to PlayStation will be remaining that way, because neither Microsoft nor Bethesda want to get sued into oblivion, so that is what it is. But going forward, I think we're going to see fewer and fewer, at least launch titles on PlayStation, which does really, really suck. And I've seen a few people describing it as being, or sort of exclusives in general, as being anti-consumer, and I'd have to mostly agree with that. I think it's a very bad move. It's obviously unpopular for obvious reasons with gamers, and I do think it's living on borrowed time. How much time? This certainly doesn't help. But, I think sooner or later we will see exclusives go the way of the dodo, but whenever that may or may not be, it's not soon enough. So, yeah, definitely shite news, to say the least. One of the other things that I do think is a possibility, though, is we've seen with PlayStation, a lot more of their games are beginning, at least, to emerge onto PC in future, and potentially other platforms as well. We'll see, but certainly PC. They're breaking out their exclusives to other platforms. In the past, Bethesda have put their games onto the Nintendo Switch later on from their launch, so it's conceivable that something like that might happen with sort of after-the-fact launches on PlayStation, maybe a year or something later, which is still a crock, but it's a possibility. So not kind of totally without any hope of playing future Bethesda games on PlayStation, but it's not a great situation for PlayStation players, I know, and like I say, I'm no happy about it than anybody else is. I think it's a really bad move. Intensely dislike this, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, I don't think it's particularly a surprise either. So, I don't really have much more to add on that front other than what I've already said, so rather than getting bogged down on it, let's look at some of the slightly more optimistic news that is coming out of this, which is that partly due to the cultures, and it's tied into all of that as well, one of the big things that they are aiming towards, both from Microsoft and Xbox, and from the Bethesda side as well, is the collaboration element. It's something that's really big with Bethesda anyway, sort of having other teams working on things, contributing to help polish or fine-tune or figure out certain aspects of games. It's something Bethesda have been doing, and their various other studios under the umbrella, for quite a long time. It's something they really iterated on in this particular roundtable event. And it's basically that attitude that is coming into the situation with Microsoft and Xbox as well. They definitely want to be able to draw on the experience and the resources of Microsoft to make better Bethesda games. And Microsoft and Xbox want them to do that as well, so that obviously future Bethesda games are as good as they possibly can be. And I say Bethesda games, I also mean like id and Arcane and all of the others as well. Which, if they're going to do that, that bodes really well for both existing and future games as well, because more resources, more stability, potentially more hardware, more expertise to draw on from other companies would be absolutely fantastic, can only really be a good thing. So hopefully that bodes well for the future of Bethesda games in that regard at the very least. Obviously, it will take some time before things like this actually come through and are visible, the effect of them. These processes take time to manifest, I suppose. So I think that's a really cool, really interesting thing, and bodes well for the future. And as I say, this is not massively surprising. It's kind of obvious that's where they were going to go with it. But it's good to hear them come out and be really excited about the potential there, which is cool. I'm definitely pleased to see that. And for Fallout 76, obviously, greater resources, more knowledge and experience when it comes to drawing on online games, things like that. It's definitely going to be a good thing, and obviously platform support as well. So that's definitely going to be good for the future of 76, I think, as well. It also involves a potential for greater investment in the team and expanding the team, and therefore potentially getting more content for the game. Again, it wouldn't be an immediate thing, it would be off down the line, but hopefully we'll cross our fingers on that front. So it's a positive moves in that particular direction. And the third and final piece of significant news was that they hinted that, well, the goal wasn't to have news in here, but they've basically said there's going to be a summer event of some kind. It sounds like it's going to be a replacement for E3, which I don't think is happening this year. Certainly seems to be the case that it won't be, what with COVID and everything, and it's probably the right move. Obviously, last year everybody had their online events instead to announce things, and it looks like Bethesda are going to be doing the same thing, probably in conjunction with Xbox from the tone of things. But it sounds like we're going to be getting some big announcement over the summer. Odds on, that's probably going to be Starfield. As to exactly how much that could be, might mean that Starfield is coming out at the end of this year, which is earlier than I would have anticipated. Both cool and slightly alarming in the sense that Bethesda games coming out early doesn't bode massively well for their bugginess. But we'll obviously see more over the summer. There's definitely going to be something announced there, so who knows? Maybe it'll be something that other companies are working on, or, well, it could literally be anything at this stage. All they've said so far is that there is something happening this summer. So that's cool to hear. That's definitely a tidbit that was hidden away in the larger Roundtable event. So definitely something cool to look forward to there. So on that note, that's basically everything that I had to cover from this event. The whole thing is about an hour and 13 minutes long, and in terms of the key significant points from it, that's actually quite a short list. As I say, most of the idea was to introduce people who are not massively familiar with Bethesda and that group of studios, particularly in relationship to Xbox community, to what they do. So if that sounds like you and you're interested in sort of the way they interact with each other and their internal attitudes and stuff like that, then the Roundtable event does make for an interesting watch. But beyond that, yeah, further bad news, I should say, for PlayStation players, which is really, really sad to hear and not impressed with, but tempered a little by the fact that they are intending to draw on Microsoft's resources and other studios and so on and so forth to create even better games, which is what we'd expect, but very cool to see that as well. And obviously, last but not least, something very cool to look forward to over the summer, we hope, with whatever the equivalent E3 is likely to be. Probably a online event, but if we're getting a significant announcement in the summer at some point. They've not said when in the summer. They were quite clear that the summer is a very large window, so exactly when that might be, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, looking forward to finding out what that might be. Maybe we'll even see something like Starfield a little bit sooner than I expected. Hopefully this doesn't come with a price, but fingers crossed that works out well. So potentially some cool stuff there, even if there is tempered by some serious disappointment as well. So I'll round this one off here, as that's long enough rabbiting on about a short list of things. So thank you very much for watching. Do hope you find this useful and informative. If you did, you know where the likes and sub buttons are. If you would like to hit those, it is very, very much appreciated. Down below the video, you can find social media links, merch store, and channel memberships. If you're interested in supporting the channel in those ways, it is massively, massively appreciated. So huge thanks to everybody who's done that already. And if you get a chance to join us for live streams as well, look forward to playing new Fallout content and diving into the new stuff, as well as continuing on with Cyberpunk and other things coming up for the year. I've got some cool ideas lined up for coming months, so I do hope you watch out and join us for those. For now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.